and welcome to your Vote Counts, a public informational nonpartisan program designed to get the public acquainted with the candidates vying for the following 2024 general election races. Those are Kaiser City Mayor, Kaiser City Council, Marion County Sheriff, Senate District 9, House District 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and Congressional Districts 5 and 6. These interviews come to you through the producers at Capital Community Media with collaboration on questions and interviewers from the American Association of University Women and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties. All candidates for these races were invited, and 65% chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions that were prepared by the League of Women Voters ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening addressing their background and their qualifications for the office. And they also have a 2-minute closing to address any other issues they wish to share, as well as their contact information. I'm Bernadine Anderson from the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties, and today I would like to introduce to you Mike Erickson, who is running for Congressional District 6. Candidate Erickson, welcome, and we look forward to hearing your 2-minute opening remarks.
Well, thanks, Bernadette. Thank you for the time, everybody. My name is Mike Erickson. I'm the Republican nominee for the Oregon CD6 congressional seat. I'm a small business owner in Tigard, Oregon. I started a company about 30 years ago. I'm also a family man. I've got a young family. I have a 9-year-old and 12-year-old in elementary school. My daughter just started junior high. My wife's in the past been a labor delivery nurse for quite a while for the Good Sam Network. My mother-in-law has been a school teacher for some 30 years. And my father's been a police officer for 30 years, out there keeping our community safe and doing a good job as a police officer. Something I really respect is what he does for our community. I'm running for office for several reasons. We have a lot of problems facing this country, and I could sit back here in Oregon and not really worry about or get involved, but I feel it's time for someone to get involved with the business background I have and the experience I have. We have a lot of incompetent politicians and career politicians that I believe are causing more problems back in our federal government than they're doing good. I would like to personally go back there and really bring some common sense, business, fiscal, conservative values back there and keep our country a little more aligned when it comes to budget and being fiscally responsible. There's a lot of problems on the southern border that need to be addressed. We got immigration policies that haven't been really addressed since 1990, almost 30 years, that need to be looked at. We have an economic mess and inflation that prices for everyday food items on our table have stayed high over the last 3 to 4 years. And it's just been very hard for a lot of families in Marion County and the rest of our district to survive paycheck to paycheck. And so I want to do everything I can to get our economy, inflation under control, and get lower food and gas prices, secure the border, real immigration reform, and come back with some new policies that will have a big impact, but also work with law enforcement to keep our community safer for all of us.
Thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing your responses to some of the questions we prepared for you. Our first one, what role does the federal government play in addressing states' climate resilience and their resilience plans?
I think our federal government should play a big role in that. I believe there's all kinds of green alternatives to the energy and things that we got going on here. We have an energy crisis where relying on what's going on with OPEC and Venezuela oil. We need to make our country more energy independent and get the price of gas and diesel back to a price that's manageable, that's not hurting families out there. But there's a lot of green solutions out there to help keep our environment and climate green as well, whether it be solar or wind or even like biofuels. And there's all kinds of new innovative ideas and things going on out there that can really help by driving cleaner diesel, so that we're not getting all the pollutants out there from all the trucks that are delivering food and items to all our stores. It's something we really need to look at and encourage the federal government to put dollars behind and encourage some of these resources that can be more renewable type solutions. There's a lot happening out there with wind and solar and the connectivity to our grid that we need to work on that to make it more accessible and affordable so we can encourage more of that. So there's a lot happening. The federal government can have a big impact on keeping our country and our state green, something I really believe in as a sort of a strong environmental candidate here in Oregon.
Thank you. You may have addressed all of your concerns with this, but I was just going to give you an opportunity to say if there's any policy or specific program help that Oregonians could expect as we address these energy concerns.
I think encouraging other members of Congress to vote and push forward legislation that will give funding to being creative on green technologies and green solutions out there. I'll always continue to do that as a member of Congress.
Thank you. We're going to continue with some natural resources ones. This one addresses water. Natural resource issues of groundwater quality and quantity, the impact of the Snake River Dam's removal affect our state in many ways, and in some parts of our state more than others. Can you comment on this situation?
I think the removal of some of the dams we've seen down in the lower Klamath just recently has been not handled properly. I think we should have done a better job of preparing for the landowners and the folks concerned about the fish and fisheries there. When the dams broke, almost from what I'm hearing and seeing, millions of fish were all killed in that process, and so that's terrible. And I think we probably could have done something differently, like more of a staggered approach to removing the dams versus like all at once, and the impact that has on the river beds and those surrounding environmental areas. I think that was handled wrong. From everything I've read, I think that's terrible that we've lost millions of salmon to this process. I definitely think it could have been done differently. So, water rights and the toxins that are being put into the water tables need to be really carefully looked at. And hopefully we're keeping our water tables clean here in Oregon. We don't have something going on like other parts of the country.
Thank you. Very real to Oregonians is fires. And we know the number of fires and the length of the fire season is increasing, as is that proportion of the forestry budget that's a lot allocated to that. How can our federal and state governments address this issue?
I think it comes down to forest management. I think a lot of the things you're seeing with the undergrowth and things around the national forests here in Oregon, or even the state forest in Oregon, haven't been managed like they should. I think in Congress we need to encourage the state forestry department and other resources that are managing the forest, whether it be private or public, to really look at what they're doing and how they manage the forest. Forest management, in other regards, is like having access. So when forest fires do open, there are road access for the fire fighters to get to. Some of these areas where these fires break out, there's no access, and they're only fighting by helicopter. Those are things that need to be addressed. I think we need to have a more prepared and well thought out fire plan at the moment a fire sparks in a certain town or a part of an area that you get one of those watchtowers spotting a fire or a citizen calls in. We need to have a rapid response where we've got helicopters with water and fire retardant immediately prepared to attack the base of where the fire is. Before it grows to 10 acres, 20 acres, then it's problematic. Then we've got a problem that's going to take months to go through and put out. So I think a quicker response to forest fires and being prepared with the right resources, and I mean the helicopters, the water tanks, and things that are ready to go. And any time between May and October, when this is the fire season here, we need to be more prepared, and our federal government needs more to make sure we have the resources to be there to fight those fires earlier instead of later when it becomes too costly.
Thank you. Our next question looks at some budgeting. What is your revenue perspective for budgeting for social service programs?
I think we need to do everything we can to protect Medicare and all of our Social Security programs that are out there. And I think we also need to make sure in Congress that folks that worked their whole lives getting ready to retire. And nowadays, with what's going on with inflation, the economy, they're more dependent now on Social Security and other Medicare and other social service benefits than ever before. And to go back and start, and like we're doing currently and have been for a long time, is we're taxing seniors on all their benefits, the senior benefits they receive, whether it be Social Security. I, as a member of Congress, like to propose that we eliminate federal taxes against any Social Security and Medicare and any senior benefits that you're receiving to help them out and make that a permanent program, not a temporary one. But we need to do more to help seniors out there so they can have when they're in retirement. Right now, they're having to go back to work. They're having to struggle, and that's just unfair for people who work their whole lives, retiring, and are expecting something from Social Security, and it's not there. What they hope for, mainly because of what's going on with inflation and the cost of goods and products out there that they're on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. Continuing with social service a bit, what should be the federal government's role in addressing women's right to privacy in reproductive health decisions?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, my wife's been a labor delivery nurse, so I hear from her a lot of the issues that go on with delivery of babies and so forth. I think there's a lot of healthcare rights, and I think the less the government's involved in your life, the better from every point of the federal government. It's almost like the federal government sometimes gets too deeply involved with our day-to-day lives. I really believe in state rights, and whether it be water rights, like you mentioned earlier, about controlling how the water is being dispersed amongst farmers and ranchers, and and the wells, and keeping the quality of water good. Those all should be state rights, and so should when it comes to abortion. The fact that the Oregon Constitution has been amended to give people in Oregon here the rights to have an abortion. I'm not running for office to change the Oregon Constitution. I think it's a state rights issue, and I'm glad it's where it is now. And let the states decide not only that issue, but other issues that are important to Oregonians.
Thank you. And speaking of Oregon, we'd like to know, how would you respond to any challenges that are presented to Oregon's election system? And what are your views on voter rights?
Well, I think we're one of the first states to have vote by mail, and we've sort of been a state that people look to how it's done right. And I think there's been a lot of good things we've done as a state. I think we need to make sure we have people that are legal citizens here, especially with the explosion of people crossing the border. And the Secretary of State and the DMV just announced that instead of 300, it's now well over 1,000 undocumented non-citizens have got registration forms. We need to make sure that only registered voters or registered U.S. citizens are the ones voting in our election. But that's important. I mean, I don't think you should have people who are not citizens of the state or this country voting here, period. No other country allows that, and we shouldn't either. But we need to make sure that everything's done properly within our electoral system here. And I think Oregon does a pretty good job for that. So I feel comfortable where we are today with the process we have.
Thank you. I think we might have a short amount of time to just ask you, how will you communicate with us as your constituents if you're elected?
Well, as a businessman here in Oregon, I believe in customer service. Customer service is the main thing you do as a business owner. Customers call, need help, you take care of them. As a member of Congress, you do the same thing. If people need help on where to talk to folks, who to address a question to, help them as much as we can with the federal issues. I'm gonna do a great job of that. I watched my dad as a policeman help other people and beyond than just the day-to-day as a policeman. But after work, he'd work at the food bank, he'd work for Habitat for Humanity, and he taught us about giving back and helping others. It's instilled that in our family and me about truly what public service is about helping others. As a member of Congress, I want to instill those values in my team so that when people call and need help here, our congressional team, that they're going to get the help they need and support they need as a member of Congress. I'll have a field office in Oregon. I haven't decided where that is yet. I'm not elected, but it'll be accessible for people to come to and meet with our team and provide the help they need when problems arise for them.
Thank you. Candidate Erickson, we now invite you to share your 2-minute closing comments about your goals for the office if elected, and any other remarks you wish to share. And we'd like for you to please share your contact information so the public can reach out to you.
Yeah, my campaign website is mikeericksonforcongress.org. That's Mike Erickson for Congress.org. If people like to help out and either see where more of the issues are all on there, you can see where I stand on a lot of the other issues. Or if they'd like to help out and join the campaign team as a volunteer or like to make a donation, everything can be done at that website. That's Mike Erickson for Congress.org. As you probably heard, I'm a businessman. I've been very blessed to have a company that I started out of my house, and it became one of Oregon's fastest growing companies. We brought good jobs to Oregon. We've grown the company to a national company and even global. I understand what's economic decisions, how they're impacted all the smaller businesses out there. Coming from a startup small business and pull up my boots and shoes and create this business to what it is today, I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. But I've got a lot of good employees now that work for me, and taking care of your employees, just like you're taking care of the citizens of the state of Oregon, is a priority of mine. I want to make sure people get good health care, affordable health care, and that my employees do as well. When I go back to Congress, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we, as citizens of Oregon, have got affordable health care that they can use going forward through their retirement. So that's important. We got to get a lot of other issues addressed, like the southern border, the economy, inflation. The number one issue I hear over and over is that people are barely surviving paycheck to paycheck because the cost of goods, cost of food is almost 30–40% more than what it was 2 years ago. And you have to ask yourself, hey, am I better off now than I was 2 years ago when my opponent, Andrea Salinas, got elected? She was elected to Congress to help do things, get the economy turned around, and I don't think things have gotten any better. I'm a businessman. I'm going to go back there and work hard, be a problem solver, and to tackle the problems I see that are critical to this state. I'm hoping the voters of Oregon want a new change. I'm not a politician. I've never been in office. I've been a businessman for 30 years in Tigard, and I look forward to helping everybody in the state.
Thank you, candidate Erickson, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts.
No worries.
It's very appreciated.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on board. I really on the show today. Thank you.
It's important to our public to see all our candidates, so we appreciate it. Thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and producer skills used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion Polk Counties for the design and preparation of the program. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to be an informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, please visit vote411.org after September 30th, when the candidate data is posted. You have it until October 15th to register to vote or to make changes to your registration. Ballots go out October 16th and will be accepted and counted, and if postmarked before or on November 5th. Elections matter. We need you to vote because your vote counts.